Mr. Love. That's a Cher song, by the way.
I'm going to synthesize your voice on that one.
All right, so we'll get rolling here. So thank you, everybody, for being patient.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Josh, for being patient.
Of course.
Yes, we would like to welcome everybody to episode 57 of It's All Fine and Dangy. And we're doing things a little bit differently tonight with our very first crossover show with Mr. Josh Bauer. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for doing the first hour with me on Back Talk with Bauer. That was awesome.
Yes, it was great. We're not used to being interviewed, but was kind of a nice little change there.
That was nice.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about what you do on the show previously, but Josh is a talented local artist, and he is now the host of his very own online talk show, Back Talk with Bauer, which we were just on, and had the privilege of being interviewed for. So now we get to turn the tables, Josh.
Uh-oh.
We get to be the interviewers. Be prepared for the uncomfortable questions. No, just kidding.
Maybe kidding.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
All right. So
Get back into it.
Josh is a local artist, as Angie said. And Josh, before we jump into the interview, we like to ask each of our guests to tell a little bit about themselves, maybe personally.
Okay.
What do you want to share that's personal, Josh?
Family life, childhood, where you grew up, any of that kind of stuff.
All right. So I was born and raised in Ohio, Northeast Ohio. It's like its own state.
Oh, nice.
It's a very interesting area, like kind of right on the border. For those that are familiar with that area, I was born in Warren, Ohio, and then kind of lived all around that area in different parts. I did not move to Florida until 2008.
Oh, wow.
I got a job opportunity. I got a job opportunity down here. That's really easy to say.
Yeah.
To work with a company down here, and got the chance and took it as soon as possible.
Of course, it's Florida.
I always wanted to get out of Ohio, even when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
I loved growing up in Ohio, but I knew it was not the place for me to stay to be whatever I wanted to be, which I have no idea. I still don't even know to this day. But I knew Ohio was not the place for me to be whatever I was going to be.
Right.
So I decided younger, I'm like, I got to get the hell out of here. And then years later, once I graduated and was kind of done with college, I kind of dropped out. It wasn't for me either. I moved down to Florida, and I've been here, now 12 years? Pushing on 12 years?
All right.
I think June. Yeah, June will be 12.
So you're pretty much a native, I guess, after the 10-year mark. That's what we say.
Yeah, I call myself a native Floridian, So
I have to ask, I know you wanted to get out of Ohio to get moving with your life, to get your career and stuff, but when you were there, did you make the trip to Cedar Point?
I never went to Cedar Point, as far as I can remember.
Wow.
I am not a roller coaster guy.
You're not? Okay.
I have some control issues and some fear of heights.
Yes.
Those two things don't work together.
It'll cure you of that pretty quick.
It's like pretty much anything you could think of a roller coaster, I absolutely hate.
Oh.
The heights, the upside down, the no control. Eat all of it.
So for those of you that don't know, Cedar Point is literally like the center of the universe for roller coaster fans. They have like 20 roller coasters. And if you're from here, like I am, and you've been to theme parks and it's all, this is like concrete and roller coasters.
Yeah, that's pretty much
it. And that's all it is. So, well, I can tell you. Oh, say it again?
My wife absolutely loves it because my wife and I met when we were in high school, got together after high school. We don't call each other high school sweethearts. But she loved Cedar Point. I was a SeaWorld kid. She was a Cedar Point kid.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's funny. My very first roller coaster was at Cedar Point. The Blue Streak, I think it was called. And it scared the crap out of me.
So I have to ask, so after you moved here and everything, when did you really start was there a time where you just kind of felt out different careers that you were trying to check out? Or like, what did you come here to do?
I came here, I got a job opportunity working for Panera Bread because my mom worked for the company.
Yeah.
And she came down first, and then I came down a year afterwards because she found an opportunity for me. And I was actually a maintenance guy for almost 2 or 3 years with them.
Mm-hmm.
And my job was to my main thing was preventative maintenance on ACs and their coolers. So I would have to go to every cafe that this particular franchise owned, and I'd have to climb up onto roofs and change the AC filters, blow out the lines, clean the coils if I could. And then once I was done roasting to death up on the roof, I'd have to climb down and go into the cafes as they're busy as for all the, because Panera never slows down.
Never.
So they're busy, their lunch is busy, those people never leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to tick off all the employees, and there's they had these big long coolers. If you've ever been at Panera, you've seen them all.
Of course.
But they have these coils in the very back corner. So you have to pull the machine forward, you have to spray this stuff, and you have to clean the coils off. It is disgusting because if you don't touch them for like more than a month, and because it's always sucking up the stuff to keep the air coming to the thing. So it's picking up everything, and it just picks up so much stuff. So yeah, that was my main job. That was my day job when I moved down here. And then after that, I was lucky enough to I met my boss now. I work at a sign shop over in Apopka.
Yeah.
And I met him, helping him actually give the office furniture from the new office of Panera. It had some stuff in it already.
Right.
He was taking some of it for his new shop. And my mom and him were talking quite a bit, and he needed some help. And my mom knew I wanted to do something more than be a maintenance guy.
Yeah.
Which, no offense to maintenance guys or anything, but it was just not the career
not
I
for you.
wanted.
It's what brought you to Florida, but it's not necessarily what you wanted to stay doing, especially once you got up there on those roofs in the middle of a summer in Florida.
It sounds miserable.
The only good thing was because I actually had to, I had to climb up first, and I had to carry a rope with me that was tied to an AC or a box of AC filters, which was usually like 50, 60 pounds. It was huge. The AC filters on the top of these big buildings are just huge. And I would have to pull the box up and bring it in and then do the stuff. And so the only good thing about my job was I was really tan, but farmer's tan. And I had some good arms back then.
You had some muscles.
But man, it was killer. The summer months.
Yeah.
So that's relatable to me. My parents had greenhouses. I'm from Apopka, and we grew up in. They had a big chain of greenhouses. Pretty notable company in Apopka for that. And I worked in the greenhouses from like age 13, 14, 15, 100 degrees in there. And what it did for me was it let me know that I do not want to work outside. And so it sounds like it's funny how that works too, because you met the boss that you're working for now. It always seems like, which has sort of led you into what you love doing, or more of an art type profession.
Yeah. I am the production manager of the shop that I'm at. So I don't get to do much of the art stuff, but it's basically, it pays the bills, so it lets me have my fun with my art career.
Yeah.
I get to, and my boss is very cool with helping me out with getting prints of my paintings, or designing some different stuff, or printing out, like I've printed out my pop-up banners there.
Oh, cool.
I've learned quite a bit of graphic design stuff, how signs work and banners, and I've helped other people that need that stuff. So it's definitely has its advantages to the art career side of my life.
Oh, that's
very
great.
Nice.
Well, talking about your art, I wanted to get into that. So you have what I view as a specific style of art. A lot of it tends to be geared towards comic book characters. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, when did your style develop? Was it at a very young age? Did you kind of always know you wanted to go this way? Like, where did it all begin when it came to actually putting your ideas on paper or canvas or whatever it was?
So I realized I had some kind of talent or something with me when I was young. It was like early middle school, I want to say. Okay. I was bored one summer day at home, had nothing to do, pre-internet and all that stuff, because I'm in that in-between of a lot of stuff. So there was no internet to play with. So I had these small little stickers that were Looney Tunes. And for some reason, I got it in my head to redraw them. And they were very tiny, and I drew them much bigger. And they looked a lot like what I looked at.
Mm-hmm.
Showed my mom, and she's like, "Oh, you traced these?" I go, "No, here's the stickers that I did." She goes, "Oh," and that's like the earliest time where something hit me that I had some kind of talent. I was always doodling, always. I mean, you guys can even see here. When somebody brought it up in my interview, I always need to do something with my hands.
Yeah. I see you with the cards, the playing cards.
Yeah. This keeps me focused on the conversation. So when I was younger, it was drawing and it was doodling. We would go to different restaurants and we'd go to, and my mom always had at least a pen and then paper to entertain me. And this was like when the restaurant still had you could flip the back of the menu and draw on it, or they had the placemats and stuff. So I would always doodle on that stuff.
I love this. This is so relatable to me.
So I always kept myself busy. Then I didn't really do much with it until I got into high school, or like middle school, high school. Later in those years, I started taking. I realized I had a talent. I realized I enjoyed it, and I wanted to explore more of it. So in high school, I took every art class available. They're like, you could do whatever art class you want to, as long as you're doing the other stuff. I'm like, cool. I want all these at this time.
Oh, great.
So like even 1 year, I did 2 art classes in 1 year. That was a terrible idea because it was a little too much. But I got to explore and got to mess around with stuff, and I also got to realize how much talent I had. Because I'm and even to this day, I just do stuff and I'm like, that looks pretty good. And other people are like, this is amazing. I'm like, I did this in like 5 minutes. It's not to me. It's nothing.
Take that talent for granted, there, don't you?
Yeah, it's not a granite. Because I try not to, because my dad actually was very. It's an inherited talented. My dad and his mom are very talented artists, and my dad can't do it as well as he used to. He can still doodle a little bit, but he stopped practicing. Yeah. So I know that you can lose it. That's why, even when I'm not stuff and things are not going well, I'm still painting.
That's great.
Or still creating. But actually, all through high school, I hated painting.
Really?
It's always a fun fact to tell people.
And that's hilarious, because that's mainly what you do now.
That's what all of this behind me is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was more into drawing and working with colored pencil. And then I did a little. There were certain classes you had to paint. You had to do some stuff. So I did some stuff here and there. And then I really got back into it full force when I moved to Florida. Got down here, was trying to – I just had that itch to create, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So I just started grabbing canvases and messing around and drawing some stuff. Started going to comic book conventions because we didn't really have many in Ohio. So I think my first one down here was MegaCon.
Oh, cool.
And I went to MegaCon 1 year and started looking around and realizing there was artists there that were not comic book artists. They were not the official people. They were local people creating things. And I went, I could do this. I could do something to this nature. I don't know how the hell you get in here, but I can make it happen. So I started, that was right around 2009-ish, I would say. I started getting into it fully and poking around, getting into somebody helped me get my artwork, because I started painting a bunch of stuff and they were like, oh, it's really good. I never wanted it out to anybody. And
it was for yourself more.
So he went to a coffee house and was talking to the guy and just BSing back and forth. And then they brought up my art. He brought up my artwork. And all of a sudden the guy's contacting me wanting to feature my artwork at his coffee shop.
Oh, wow.
So it's going... And I kept getting different things, and I'd go to more places, and more people were into it. So yeah, that's how it really started, was just little steps here and there, and kind of people just going, hey, dummy, you can do good stuff.
Yeah.
Here, come here.
Now, did you want? I wanted to ask him
go ahead, sure.
about, do you remember the first painting that you sold that was like, a good piece, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to give it up, but somebody really wanted it, like some kind of story like that?
Man, I'm trying to think. There was a few that I've given away here and there. Anything from high school or like anything in that time, I either gave away or I kept for myself. I actually have a lot of my old high school stuff. Some of it's around in the house here and there. I still have the big trapper or whatever you call it, the big portfolio of it all. So I never really sold that much. I'm trying to think. I know there's been a couple of conventions because I really started selling stuff when I went to comic book conventions.
Yeah.
Because I did Stanford's Alive After 5, and nobody was really liking the prices of the artwork then. Okay, I remember too. And it was like my first 2 really big pieces where I made some money. I went to. Sometimes I get my stuff mixed up.
That's okay. Don't we all?
Went to. Yeah. Oh, okay. So one of the ones, and this is the earliest one I can remember, was a MegaCon, and I think it was when I had a big booth for MegaCon. It was my second year. I went for a full size booth because you can see the canvases I have; they're very big.
Sure.
It was before the show even started, and I did this Boba Fett painting. It was an 18 by 24 inch canvas, and I had it sitting there, and the doors aren't even open yet, and somebody walks past and he sees this painting, and he walks in and he goes, "That is really amazing." I'm like, "Oh, thanks," and I figured he was. I don't even know who he was. Like I haven't heard from him again. I don't know if he's still a fan or not. But he absolutely loved it. He goes, "How much?" I go, and I told him the price. He goes, "Okay, I want it." I'm like, "What?"
Huh?
And I sold a paint before the show even started.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
great.
That's a good sign.
Great day. Yeah,
This is the best day ever.
that was the best MegaCon I ever had.
Oh, that's great.
I ended up selling. Oh yeah, I ended up selling several large pieces, like full size canvases. I sold this one. I got like almost full asking price. It was a 48 inch by 24 inch canvas of Batman staring down 20 of his most iconic villains.
Oh, cool.
And, he bought that one and then 2 other pieces. He came back for the Batman afterwards, and he's like, "How much for that one?" And I cut it a little bit of a deal. He goes, "Okay." It was.
Hey.
I've done that well at a convention since then, but it was.
Oh, that's
that was like the
awesome.
most high on a weekend I ever was.
That is great.
So I have to ask, you're doing these for MegaCons. Your work is very sort of comic centric. Maybe not all of it, but there's definitely a lot of it to that. Were you a big fan of comic books and stuff like that growing up, or is it just the art of the comic that you like?
I think it's more the second.
Yeah.
I was not a kid that sat around and read comics. A little bit here and there. I've always been a big fan of cartoons.
Yes.
Like even today, I'm 32-year-old and I'm still watching cartoons like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
I absolutely loved cartoons, animation, and I've always watched it ever since growing up. So that's how I know a lot of the Spider-Man, the DC. I've gotten more into comics since I've done comic book conventions. Because I've had conversations with people where I've seen different stuff and I'm following different things.
Yeah.
So like I'm now more into comics. I think part of it with the comic books is I never had the attention span to wait for every issue to come out.
Yes.
And I still don't. I still that come with the graphic novels. I'm like, I'll take that, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, when I was a kid
yeah.
reading comics, they didn't have those yet. You had to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really have comic book shops around me. And I hung out with like different people that weren't into comics, so I don't even know how I've got into all this stuff. I've always loved Spider-Man.
Yep, same.
I've always loved Batman. So I think the movies and stuff helped a lot. And getting into the comic book scene, because I never knew what to paint for myself. Like I've gotten more into doing like the trees that are here, the that I painted live painted a couple weeks ago. I've gotten more into that the last couple of years. Even the fairy here is inspired of going to conventions. It's like, okay, it's finally time for me to do stuff that's mine.
Yes.
And that I can create and do my own style on and my own stuff. But yeah, it was mostly just to get people's attention and try to get to different things.
Because it was
and
popular.
You can't go to conventions without comic books.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to be.
So, to me, I guess maybe I should say, because I'm thinking of all the art that I've looked at on your website, all the stuff I've seen that you've done in some of the live sessions, it maybe it doesn't encompass all of it, but I think it's more pop culture than just comic, because a lot of that stuff ties in the fairies, the fantasy looking trees. You know, that it's not all comics. Some of it's
fantasy kind of.
Yeah, I would call it pop culture because they're icons. A lot of them are icons. You got the Power Rangers, I think, right behind you. You know,
and the Powderpuff Girls. I remember my kids watching that.
Yep.
Yes,
Girls.
that's how old I am, Josh. My kids watched that.
Well, it's funny. You said cartoons.
I mean, that's not that long ago, but we're going to skip that one. Yeah, pretty paintings everywhere. But no, yeah, I started out really with the comic book heavy stuff because I'm pushing like 7 years doing this, whatever this is. It's kind of like a second side job hobby.
Right.
So yeah, I started with the comic book stuff. Kind of was getting bored with that. Started to branch out a little bit, getting into some of the cartoons, some of the movies. Also getting into the fairies. I started my own line of fairies and working with cosplayers and friends to create these fairies. And then the trees were kind of inspired by like Oriental style / medieval style.
See that definitely.
Yeah, like the cherry blossoms.
Yes.
I've always just been very entertained with that style and that look, and I'm like, I could do something like that. So I actually started really small. I started on 12 by something, the very tiny ones, 12 by 24, I think it was. And I just started. Those are all just straight up like no drawing ahead. I just let the paintbrush go wherever it wants.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes great. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But they're so fun. Like if I'm like super stressed or super angry or just need to like turn the brain off, I'd paint a tree. You know, because I just start going, and 2 hours later, I have a painting, and I am totally chill.
Love it.
That's great.
So I have to ask this. I think I know the answer. I think the answer is no, but I tinker with drawing and painting, but it's all digital. So because it's easier for someone that's not a true artist, visual artist. You know, I do it with my iPad. I really enjoy it. Do you ever do any digital mediums at all?
I cannot get a handle on it. It is. I have tried several times. I actually have a Wacom tablet that sits on my desk. The basic stuff I can do is some sketching.
Right.
But to create what you see behind me, I need paint and canvas.
Sure.
Even when I'm sketching, it drives me insane because you don't get the same
feel, the grit and all that.
Feel and pull. Yeah, especially when you're sketching onto a canvas. Yep. Even canvas to paper is totally different.
Sure. Yeah.
Get that noise, that effect, and that style. Yep. And then with the brushes, I mean, and I'm always very honest with the way I do, but I don't know how I do half the stuff I do. Like you see all these paintings behind me, I really can't tell you how I do them. It just, I let the paint do, I let my hands do whatever they want, and I zone out half the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's what real artists do, though. Yeah. I mean, that's what artists do. They go in a zone and they don't even. It's like they went to sleep and woke up. Oh, well, there it is.
What did I make? Yeah, it comes right out of your brain. I really do like. I like all of your stuff, but I really like the Oriental cherry blossom tree. That's very much my style in this style art I have. I don't know if you can see it here, but I've got cherry blossoms all over my arm here.
Oh wow.
Flowers.
Oh, those are awesome.
Yeah, so I love that whole style. One day we're going to see cherry blossoms in person.
That'd be great.
But
what are you saying, Dan?
but you talked about your live painting, which I think is the coolest thing ever. And I think there's a certain level of skill that, you know, some artists have, but that takes it to a whole different level because you can paint in your studio, you can fix up the mess ups, you can paint over canvas and start over when you screw up. When you're doing this live and when you're live streaming it, you know, that's like a trial by fire. And I know you've talked about how you painted over some things, like the rose that you painted, I think it was last week, is amazing. And it's got all the streaks underneath. I don't know if you have that one, but I really like it, but I like how you morphed it.
Sitting in the living room.
Is it so? Yeah. How did that start? I mean, I know that you do it with the Kitchen Killaz too, and I don't know if it started with them or you started it yourself. But did it start with them?
Oh wow!
So, yeah, it's a very fun and interesting story. So the main reason all this came about was because the conventions have not been working for me for the past few years. I go to comic book conventions, I take all my stuff, I pay all the money to get in, and I am not getting the return that I want.
Sure.
And the convention scene is really changing, and it's not the same people that even when I started 7 years ago, you're not getting the same people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting very frustrated and very angry, and just I was actually hating my artwork.
Oh.
This was about 2 years ago now, I think it is. I was going to quit, and I was just so frustrated. So where it came from was I was at Tampa Bay Comic Con, and it was Tampa Bay Comic Con was always my really good show. I knew I could sell a lot of originals there, and things would go really well. And I was having a bad streak. I get there, and the weekend's going to crap. I'm not making my money. I'm not doing, anywhere near I thought I was going to. And Billy Floyd, one half the Kitchen Killaz, popped in, and he's, checking in with me, and he's like, "How's things going?" I'm like, "Oh, crappy." And he goes, and I always am. I never sugarcoat anything. And I'm like, "It's not going well." He's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "I'm not making any money. Nothing's going well. I'm bombing, man. I can't do it." And so I guess there was something on my face that night and or that day, and it kind of stuck with him. We get a couple weeks after that, we were supposed to do this big crossover show. It was going to be myself, Kitchen Killaz, and Hanging with Web show, and I was renting out an art space over here in Longwood, and we were going to do this big crossover show with art, music, Hanging with Web show. It was going to be awesome. I went to Tampa and something else, and I was done. I'm like, I'm canceling the show. I can't do it. I'm like, you guys can come to my house. We'll do a normal Kitchen Killaz show if we want to show off my artwork, but I'm just done. No. And they're like, so I guess they had a little powwow on their own.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And everybody was very worried about me. So they came, we do the show, they come, we have a great show. I show off the paintings. We have some fun. We're sitting in my back patio and we're just talking, and they're like, "What can we do to help you?" Basically we had an intervention. And they're like, "What can we do? How can we help you? What?" And I'm like, if I could tell you how to help me, I wouldn't be having this conversation now.
Exactly.
I just don't want to do this anymore. Nobody wants my stuff. Nobody wants to buy it. And I just don't have any energy energy for this anymore. They're like, okay. They're like, "What about live painting?" I went, "What about what?" They're like, "What if you come and live paint with us on the show?" I go, "No, you guys are freaking crazy. I'm not doing that."
Gonna like, "Why fail in front of a live audience?" Right.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't even like people watch. I don't even like recording myself because I know it's going to, and people are going to watch this, and it's in fast speed. No. We had this 30-minute argument. They're like, "Just try it." I'm like, "Billy, do you understand it takes me," because at that time it would take me weeks to finish one or days, or it wasn't a small time span.
Right.
They're like, "How fast can you do a painting?" I'm like,
2 weeks.
It's taken me a few hours. I'm like, at the most 3-4 hours. I don't even know. They're like, "Okay." So Halloween was right around the corner. They're like, "You're going to come. We're going to do a Halloween special for the You Pick 2 show." I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "You're going to paint whatever you want. Let's make it Halloween theme. You come, you live paint with us, and we see how it goes, and you see how you like it." And I didn't really have a choice to say no. You know how the Kitchen Killaz are.
What's happening?
How great are those guys?
Yeah. So I'm like, all right. So I decided to paint Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, if it's the theme, he's all black and white. I kept it to a small 24 by 12 inch canvas. I'm like, I may be able to get it done. Go over there Friday night, and we start the show, and I am shaking before we're starting.
Oh.
I want to I've never been a person on stage. I was never the kid that demanded attention, or I'm going to hop up on stage and do this crap. I've never been that kid. So to go and do this, I'm like, the only thing that helped me was I had my back against the camera, so I don't see people watching. I don't see
you know what?
comments.
That is a good point. That's a good point, because years ago I was in a few bands back in the day, and I played the drums, or did years ago. But our bassist, when we have a really big show, he'd have stage fright, and he was amazing if he turned his back to the crowd the whole time. So there's something to that for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so the show goes, and I got the painting done in 48 minutes.
What the heck?
Wow. Do you still have that one?
No, that one sold. I have the prints of it still,
Look
but
at
that one actually sold at a Kitchen Killaz event like 2 weeks later.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
It was one of the cool surprise ones.
Do you set your art up when you do like the previous pieces up when you're doing the live streaming with them?
Depends
I mean,
on
when
where
you're
I
out,
am.
yeah.
If I'm with the Kitchen Killaz, it's usually just what I have. It's just that painting and stuff. If we're out at a bigger event, I will bring some paintings with me if the venue allows it. Some people are really cool and let me do a full setup. Other people are like, oh, you can bring a couple pieces. Other times it just doesn't really fit for the mood.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
But if it's me going out and live painting on my own, like to a restaurant or to this or that, I usually say, hey, can I bring some paintings to sell and to show off? Because some people don't understand what I'm doing until I'm done. So if I bring out and do a setup like this behind me and then have the empty canvas, it starts them getting a better idea of what it's going to look like, and what I do.
Sure, it's like an ad. Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What your style is and all that jazz. So whenever you were at that Tampa Bay Comic-Con, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you already friends with the Kitchen Killaz and hanging with Web Show, or is that how you got to know them? Because I want to know how that partnership came about with you three.
Yes, I have been friends with Billy for quite a few years now. I want to say 5-ish years or so. So years ago, I had my own comic book convention because apparently I never liked being bored. I always get roped into things, doing different things. So I started running my own comic book convention. It was a small one. It started off in a comic book shop. We kind of took over the comic book shop and made some stuff into there. It succeeded. We did another one in there, and then I outgrew them and did one more until I lost my mind with it and walked away after the third one. But I believe I met Billy in the very first one. That is the first time we met. Billy was dating a girl at the time who was a cosplay girl, and he was, helping her out. So I knew her a little bit more than him, but that's really when he and I became friends.
Cool.
We were joking back and forth, and actually we always tell the story. I actually kind of tortured Billy the first time we hung out.
Yeah.
At this event. There was a person that I didn't really want to. There's certain people at events, certain people at conventions and stuff you kind of stay away from.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Billy and I look a lot alike. And over the years, we've been asked if we're related or not. Mm-hmm. We've had people think we're brothers or something like that, and we're not related. We just look a lot alike. So we're at my convention, and he's there. And he pulls me to the side at one moment. He goes, hey, Josh, there's this guy. He came over and he just kind of started talking to me and, congratulated me on the convention and gave me a good job. And he's like, I really think he thought I was you. I'm like, cool, let's keep it that way. And I walked away from him.
Oh, nice.
So that is the first time I got to mess with Billy Floyd, and
that's great.
Yeah, we tell that story every time somebody asks us about that. So yeah, that's how I met Billy, and then I met Commodore through Billy once the Kitchen Killaz were going. Because when the Kitchen Killaz started, I was actually going to school at night. I was working all day and then going to school at night, so I couldn't be a part of like the first year of the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I meet them from that, I booked them over at my house. Like that first year I was free. But yeah, that's how I met the rest of the Kitchen Killaz crew. Was like when they were actually formed and everything.
Cool.
And then hanging with Web Show, I met at MegaCon one year. I actually had to ask them because I couldn't really remember. They just always been around, and they've always been supportive of me. And then now that when Kitchen Killaz came in and I kind of came back from hiding away from school, I came back into the fold of everything, and all this group started exploding and doing different stuff, and I started the live painting. So now it's turned into this craziness. So, you never know when you're going to catch me. Sometimes I'm working with Kitchen Killaz on a Friday night show. Other times I show up at a comic book convention hanging with Web Show.
Yeah, it's like a whole community out there that we're learning
really cool.
about.
Oh, yeah.
And those guys have been doing it forever. But this is sort of a good segue into my next question, because now you've started your own podcast. You've started Back Talk with Bauer, and we were just on it earlier tonight. Yeah. But what made you decide to do your own show and sort of host your own show?
Mostly boredom.
Oh, there you go with your boredom
keep
again.
Busy.
I always got to keep busy. So and I don't like talking about it because everybody beats the dead horse about what's going on right now. I don't even like mentioning the damn name.
I know. And
so when it started going and I started seeing the wheels go off, and all of April was supposed to be jam-packed for me. I had every weekend in April booked of some kind of live painting.
Yep.
Either it being I had 2 art shows in one night at 2 different bars. I had 2 charity live paintings with Stormy Hill Harley Davidson. We had MegaCon, and I had another charity thing at the end of the month. Like, my wife was mad at me for how much I booked April.
Hopefully it's not like your anniversary month or something, buddy.
No, that's May, and that was pretty empty, kind of. Oh, crap, I talked too much about her. She's staring at me. Hi, honey. So I can't say what you're doing because they're a PG show.
We're PG.
Hey, this might be a good time for us to do a quick shout out to Terry. Thanks for joining us, Terry, and thanks for the information about Josh and his sale on prints. He's got $5 large prints and $1 small prints going right now. Hi, Marcy. A little late to tell you hi, but thanks for dropping in. And hi, Vanessa. We want to say hi to you too. While you're dropping in to check us out on the Facebook Live.
Terry never really does sleep, does he?
Nope, never does. So we went, and I had this whole month booked, and it died.
Oh.
Like, it just, things started dropping, and I am, I found out I have a lot of issues, and one of them is a little bit paranoia, anxiety, and usually I keep myself very busy. I can ignore a lot of things and keep all of that at bay.
Sure.
I'm always doing something. I'm always just staying active. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall and went, I'm going to have a lot of free time. Oh. And it freaked me out.
Oh, wow.
And, the world was going to where it currently is, and that was freaking me out. I'm like, I'm just like, what do we do? What am I going to do? How is this going to work? Right. I didn't even know how, lockdowns worked. I'm like, how am I going to have to eat the dogs? What is going to happen?
You're preparing for the absolute worst.
He's got chihuahuas. Yeah. You better savor that.
Oh my gosh.
Is she spicy? I don't know. How does this work? So I'm like, I got to do something with myself because I'm going to drive my mom and my wife crazy.
Sure.
I had to keep myself busy. And this was a little bit before CyberCon was fully a thing too, especially to what size it was. So I'm like, okay, I'll do the live painting and I'll do that on the weekends. And that'll be a cool 2-hour spot. But I love being on podcasts. Yeah. And I was actually supposed to be on a couple of podcasts through this month that had to get canceled. And I'm supposed to be on more next month. And I love hopping on podcasts, BSing with people, causing trouble. And I'm like, I saw the Be Live stuff with Garrett and Hanging with Web Show. I'm like, I could get that. I have plenty of cool, amazing, talented people in my friends list that I can bug and say, hey, come and chat with me. Let's get some people. And I knew everybody was going to be hurting right now, too.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, if I can't, I know I'm not going to sell any art because I wasn't selling much before this all happened. I know I'm not going to sell any more once this is all going down. So might as well do something good with my time and entertain some people, entertain myself, and chat with people. So, it actually started by accident a little bit. I was just going to do, because I figured out you could do Instagram Live. And my Amelia, the amazing cosplayer, and I did one kind of together. And it was fun. It was cool just chatting with her. It made me forget things like, what's going on and just BS and not worry about it. So I went, all right, who wants to just be randomly interviewed on Instagram Live? So a fan up north, he's like, oh, I'll do it with you. So we did it the next week on Instagram Live. And it was cool. We chatted back and forth. I got to find out about him, got to crack some jokes. And again, I forgot what was going on in the world. I'm like, all right, I'm making this a show. My wife's like, you're doing what now?
What have you added to the list, Josh?
Yeah. He goes, seriously? I am honestly more busy now than I was before everything went to chaos.
Yeah, because with these shows, there's so much that goes into them. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that you just think, oh, yeah, I just turn it on and I go. That's not how it is. And I know because I see Dan do all this work for the show.
I'm hastened to continuously say that's relatable. That's relatable. But when you talk about anxiety and having to move your hands, I pace around in this office/studio room in my day job on the phone like a caged animal because I have to keep moving. And I'm like that too, where it's constantly busy, and I'm with you. Right now, for me, I am more busy than ever. I'm in IT during the day, so you can imagine we're busy with people working from home, but writing and just doing the podcast and stuff. And for me, as much as sometimes I feel like, and I'm curious if you're like this, sometimes I feel like I just need 5 minutes. It's been a 10, 12-hour day. But without it being so busy, when there's nothing to do, I have to sleep or something because I can't. And I say that half jokingly because I can't take it. I'm not wired to slow down or stop. So when you're talking about what are you going to do, you're locked down. I had the same kind of thoughts at first. Like, if you put me in front of a computer, I can stay busy, which is arguably not. You can be a creator in front of a computer, or you can be a consumer. That's the downside. With you in front of a piece of canvas, you can only be a creator. So now you in front of a camera with your podcast, it's another way for you to be a creator. Yeah. So I love that because you're not really wasting any time.
No, it's been a lot of fun. It's been, and of course, like when I started mentioning it in cars, because I kind of just put some feelers out there. I'm like, what do people think? Right. Of course, hanging with web shows, like, do it. I'm like, calm down.
Give me a minute.
They're like, they're like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't even know. It's gonna be, and I tell people when they're coming on, I told Amelia, because I asked Amelia to be the first guest because her and I already had a good back and forth. I know her pretty well. And I'm like, you're a guinea pig. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how well I'm going to be, because I've been playing guest host with Garrett with Hanging with Web Show. Yeah. We will go to we went to Sci-Fi Bartow and we did a all-day stage show, and I was the co-host.
Cool.
So I would hop on every so often and cause trouble and basically make fun of him the whole time. But
that's your thing with him.
Oh yeah. I started realizing that was enjoyable. Like if you would have asked me this 10 years ago, I would have said you're out of your freaking mind, because I never wanted to be on stage. I never wanted to be seen.
Isn't that funny?
But I realized that I had a knack for it, and basically it gives me a free card or a free pass to cause trouble. Yeah. And my brain goes, oh, okay, cool, let's go.
And you don't really get in trouble because it's all in good fun. See, it's fun.
Oh yeah, as long as people are laughing, I'm good. I get away with murder on stage with Garrett because Garrett's more of the proper polished writer and the I don't even know good words for it, but he's the host of the show. He's like the one saying serious. And I'm the one that comes in and starts creating the chaos. And, the greatest way to describe us is we're on stage at Sci-Fi Bartow. It is the beginning of the show. It's the beginning of the show. And we're kicking things off and we're getting into it and everything. We're sitting there and these 4 or 5 people we had some chairs in front of us. They all come up and they sit right down in front of us. And I'm watching and I'm looking, and they have all these bags and all this stuff on them. I'm like, oh, they're the EMTs and stuff that are supposed to be walking around and taking care of everybody and making sure they're healthy and happy and all that. And I'm like, and my brain just went off. I went, you're here for Pop Pop. And I pointed right to Garrett.
Oh my, that's fantastic. And that's his nickname with you now.
Yeah, because I am the guy that will kick. I will, if you're up high and feeling like if you're getting a little too big for your britches, I will kick the leg right out of you. And Garrett was getting a little big for his britches, and
that's great.
Like, oh, that's why the girls do this and this, and I'm like doing stuff because I've all done it myself.
Sure.
For years, I've had to put up the tables, do this. I don't have a whole freaking crew.
Yeah.
And so like the pop thing popped up somewhere, and that was my whole thing all day. So I'm talking to the EMTs. I'm like, all right, so if pop goes down at any moment, do you have the little chargy thing so we can shock the crap out of them? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, you're gonna go give me some
those.
here.
I need those.
I'll be in charge.
Yeah, I need those stat right now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They had no idea what to do with me, but I've been doing stuff like that over the past year and doing stuff with Kitchen Killaz.
Yeah.
And I'm always, if you hear me in the background, I don't have a mic, so I don't know how often you hear me.
Yeah.
But Billy will be like, he'll say something really super positive and great and everything. And I'll just be like, no, we don't.
Now I have to listen for it. See?
Yeah. We love and cherish all of you, and we think it's awesome. We love your support. And I'm like, no,
I don't. So I know that you said like you just did this out of boredom, but what do you see is there any long-term plans, any dreams kind of for where maybe Back Talk is going to go? Like, have you thought about that yet?
As of right now, no, because my head, I can do a lot at once, but I always have like a main focus at certain times. So like right now, the main focus has been CyberCon.
Yeah.
I got to do so much for it. I've got other opportunities for it, and some stuff's popping in, throwing stuff my way here and there. So right now it has just been like, okay, and I keep falling into interviews. Like I did the Amelia one. I'm like, who the hell's going to be the next guest? And I'm talking to Thomas, Thor Talks To host, over one of our meetings, and I'm like, this dude's really cool. And I message him like, hey, do you want? I can't remember if I talked to him or messaged him. I'm like, hey, you want to be a guest on my next episode? He goes, yeah, let's do it.
Oh, I love it.
I'm like, okay.
That great energy, yeah.
And I think it even works with you guys too. We were in the middle of something, and then I said, hey, you wanted me on, and I'm like, well, it's Tuesday. You guys are basically right after me. Yeah. Let's just do a super over show.
Yeah.
And
we pulled it off.
Yeah, we did. It's funny the energy of that
technical issue.
Yeah, the energy of that group, though, of you, of the Kitchen Killaz, of Thor, of the Hanging with the Web show. It's we're happy to be sort of included in that group of people that you're talking about because we're relatively
the family.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think ever since we met Kitchen Killaz, it's been sort of like a domino effect.
Yeah.
Of the connections between all these people, and the energy of it is to help promote and support each other, and to help the sort of little community here of the podcast. And maybe I shouldn't even say little, but our podcast is primarily about focusing on community and helping when we can. CyberCon 2020 is big about that, and that's really supporting the creative community and bringing entertainment to everybody at home, especially at this time we all have to be at home.
Yes.
I think maybe most importantly, it's helping to raise money for the Center for Disaster Philanthropy's COVID-19 Response Fund. Did I get it right?
Philanthropy.
Way better than
Philanthropy.
It's a hard word.
Is it Center or Disaster or Center for Disaster?
Well, whatever I typed.
Okay.
Center for.
It's helping the disasters of Phil.
That's
we got it.
Disasters of Phil. But
Phil's disasters. He's been tearing crap up everywhere. We need to clean it up. We need some cash. About $1.50, we'll get it done. We'll get,
That's right.
But, to me, I said this before when we talked, but it reminds me of like the old school telethons. I'm probably showing my age when I say that, but I think it's a great way to entertain everyone when they're stuck at home. We're going to basically leave the thing going the whole time and watch as much as we can. There's such a huge variety, and the cause is amazing. And props to you for helping to sort of birth this idea. Props to Hanging with Webb for, helping to really sort of grab the reins and take it forward. And it's a huge undertaking. And can you tell us briefly about exactly how you're involved in sort of the birth of this and getting it rolled out?
Yeah, so it's the same thing that's been through this whole episode. Boredom.
You crack me up.
It's always boredom with me, and I'm always the head's always going, and it never shuts off, and it's kind of terrible sometimes. But we were getting into the point, and you're listening to radio, you're seeing things, and you're just seeing the domino effect of what's going to be happening. And this was late March, and I'm just watching this stuff, and everything's closing up, everything's getting canceled, and I'm like, MegaCon's not happening. It may get pushed back, it may get canceled, but it is not happening. And MegaCon was supposed to be April 17th through the 19th. Yeah. That is what all we had in our calendars. I was supposed to be there Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. Hanging With was there all weekend. We were going to get a big booth. I was going to be live painting, co-hosting. It was going to be awesome. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. There's no way. Yeah. I mean, especially when they started doing the testing sites at the Orange County Convention Center.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not going there anyway.
Yeah. No. Leave me alone. But I messaged, I think it was Sage first. We were talking about something, and I said, hey, you guys got the Be Live thing. They were already kind of doing it. I'm like, if MegaCon does not happen, and I don't think it's going to happen, we should do something online. We should do our own show. We're entertaining enough. We can do our thing. So let's get together. We'll get some more people involved. And my original idea was a small thing about this big.
Let's have like 20 people.
20, 25 max. We'll stay open. And my original thought was we'll be open and online during the hours of what MegaCon would be. Like the normal exhibitor hours.
9 to 5, whatever, 9 to 8, whatever.
Yeah, 9 to 5, 6, something like that. So they're like, okay, yeah, that's a really idea. I'll send it to Garrett. We've been talking about it a little bit because I threw it out there once, kind of what's the word? Kind of just threw it out there to see if they would bite on it, and then from there, and then I threw it out there again, and Sage kind of said, we're really liking the idea. Because at the one time I threw it out there, they're like, oh, they're still trying to keep it going. I'm like, you people are insane. I'm not going to be there if it's going on. So find another live painter. So it started happening. And they kind of saw it was coming and everything. They're like, okay, we like the idea. We want to make it happen. I'm like, okay. So then it went from, my little idea. And then they get back to me. They're like, all right, so it's a 3-day event. It's a telethon. We're going 50-some hours straight. We're going to have this, and this. And I went, what?
Excuse me?
I'm like, it's going to be a bacon house? And
oh, my gosh.
I'm get into this one meeting, and Garrett lays it out to me. And this list, and I'm sure you guys have seen the list that's like all the logos that are people involved. It has been doubling every day.
It's crazy.
For weeks. It's been insane. We've got MegaCon, DragonCon. We've got so many people involved. I'm like, where did all you people come from? How did you find out? I mean, we've got people in other countries. We've got people all across America.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, and I will, Garrett, when you talk to him and you see him through this CyberCon weekend, he will blame me for this, and it is lies. My idea was tiny.
He's only going to blame you if something goes wrong. That's what I would do.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I'm here for.
Well, Josh, we
Thank
are
God.
really looking forward to that. I want to let everybody know if you're interested in any of Josh's paintings behind him, you can find a link to his page on our page. We're going to put all the links in there so that they can check you out.
That is right. And if you're listening to this on your podcast player, you can just scroll down on your device and there'll be links in the show notes that go straight to Josh's page as well.
Yes. And one more question before we wrap, Josh.
Uh-oh.
What are you looking forward to most about when all this craziness is over and you get to get out of the house a little more? What's the one thing that you're honing in on?
It jumps between two things. Yeah, the first one is food.
I thought it was going to be a joke. I was going to say a burger. But what were you going to say?
Yeah. I love going out to eat. My wife and I love going. We'll on the free Saturdays that we have, we will just go for a drive in the car, and we will drive like an hour more and go find somewhere to eat.
Oh, I love that.
And try all
like a mom and pop kind of place.
Yeah, we love doing it. I have a whole list in my phone of places that I want to go to eventually.
Oh, cool.
Hold on, let me take a note. Ask Josh where to get that list of restaurants from. All right.
Yeah.
Yep. I will send that to you, sir. Don't worry. Yeah, I love and we're kind of keeping at it right now. We don't get to go in, but we just ordered from one that I've been wanting to try for forever now. This past weekend because we're trying to support local every weekend.
Well, what is it?
I went and picked it up. It was the Back Porch Longwood.
Oh,
nice.
It is actually on my way home from work. Oh, it is some fantastic
Back
food.
Porch Longwood.
It was good to go.
Oh.
I can't even imagine what it's like
Fresh.
in the building.
Oh, wow.
What kind of food is it?
Man. Like Americana food. So we ordered, they call them, it's not sliders. I think they call them speedsters.
Right.
And little burgers, but they make theirs with Hawaiian rolls.
Oh, yum.
We got garlic, tater tots, medium wings, and man, it was fantastic.
Oh.
It was really good.
I know what we're doing this weekend. Okay, so you said you want to say food. What was the other thing?
The other thing is I really can't wait to see my friends in person again.
Yes.
It has been too long since I have seen the Hanging with Web show, Kitchen Killaz.
Yeah.
It has been way too long. We have all been into a spot. I mean, it would very rarely go a few weeks where we would see everybody somewhere, either at a Kitchen Killaz show, at an event, comic book thing, or they would invade my house on a random Tuesday and bring ice cream sandwiches. That actually happened.
Nice.
It was insane. But it's a messed up family, but it is a family, and there's so many people that you just don't realize you don't get to see right now, especially with not going to the Kitchen Killaz show.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a small family reunion with all of us during a Kitchen Killaz Friday night show, and
that's great.
It sucks. It's been rough. Luckily, we have this technology now, so I've been able to torture Garrett virtually for the past couple weeks. It's weird. And my poor wife, she actually put up this thing the other day. I think it was a couple of days ago. She's like, the thing she misses most right now is hugs.
Aww.
And she missed. I'm like, when did you get so savvy?
Yeah.
But she really missed hugs and people. So we'll. I think Garrett and I were talking in one of the other feeds that we're going to go and plan a dinner somewhere and get everybody together and grab some food and hang out.
Good.
Either if it's cooking it ourselves or going and invading a restaurant, it will happen as soon as it can.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's going to be great.
Well, until then, we hope that you stay safe, and we will see you this weekend.
Yes, thank you. I will be making sure to tune in to you guys, and I hope you guys can tune in to all the shift that I'm causing.
I will be up bright and early both days.
I will not be up bright and early, but I will catch the late show, baby.
Catch it on a rerun.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I plan on capturing all of them too, and trying to get the time lapses of all of them.
Sure.
But yeah, at least I know I'll have one person at 6 o'clock in the morning.
That guy right there.
I will so be there. Josh, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us and for having us on your show earlier this evening. And we can't wait to see what you do with your art and where you go next.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for experimenting. I hope we can do this again soon.
Yeah.
This was fantastic. And
All right, Josh,
Awesome,
have a
guys.
great night. We'll let you get back with the wife now. She'll appreciate that.
I don't.
Maybe.
You can keep talking. Just keep rolling. Keep rolling.
All right, Josh, have a great night. Stay safe and healthy, all right?
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Josh.